Hey heathens! Alright, we're going to go semi off the religion track into a whole other issue, which is surrounded by religious reasoning, typically, but really shouldn't be a religious issue. I'm talking about euthanasia. No, I'm not talking about teenagers going to college in China. Euthanasia, the practice of a mercy kill, so to speak, to end someone who is terminal or suffering or whatever the case may be. Now, I'm pretty sure that the vast majority of my atheist subscribers will all agree that there's nothing wrong with euthanasia. But it's typically the religious crowd who thinks that there's a problem with it. They say, oh, life is precious and only God can decide when you go and blah, blah, blah. Okay. We've seen what God's choice is when it comes to children who are living in homes where they're being molested every night. And we've seen what God's choice is when a woman is being repeatedly raped by some assailant who has her kidnapped, or she's in an abusive relationship with some guy who's beating the crap out of her every night. We've seen what God's position is when it comes to so many other ways that humans suffer. Whether you're living homeless on the streets, starving in Africa, whatever. He pretty much takes a hands-off approach. So why would you think that God would get involved if all of a sudden you are suffering and it's time for you to die and you just don't want to be around anymore? Now, I'm not talking about some teenager who's depressed because their boyfriend or girlfriend decided they didn't love them anymore, and so now they don't see a point in living, and now they want to kill themselves. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people like, oh, I don't know, my grandmother. Okay, my sole surviving grandparent right now, as you guys know, my grandfather, who I was very close to, passed away several years ago. My grandmother, his wife, died this past year. My grandfather on the other side died before I knew anything about him. And his wife, this grandmother that I'm talking about now, is currently in the hospital. She's lived a long life, but not a very good one. She's had health issues for a long time now. She's suffered for, a very long time. And it's pretty obvious that she's not going to be making it much longer. And as much as it pains me to have to think about the fact that she's not going to be here very much longer, and I won't get to see her anymore, and she's going to be gone, it pains me even more to know that she's going to spend however long that is, may it be a day, a week, a month, or another year, another 10 years, suffering the same way she has already. I went by to see her today, and she made it very clear. Now, she's a religious woman, and she says that she's, ready to go to heaven. The conversation was even brought up, which, being respectful, I wasn't going to sit there and make her feel bad and remind her that there is no heaven or nothing like that. But it was brought up that she was ready to go, but God didn't want her yet. And don't give me this crap about how she's supposed to be showing somebody whatever, blah blah. The woman can get around. The quality of life is at the scraping the bottom here. She's ready to go, but we can't end her suffering. And she's saying, "I'm ready to go. I don't know why I've got to lay here and suffer, but I'm ready to go." She's had a long run, and she's had a really hard time for a long time now, and she's ready to go. Why is it that if we see that a horse who breaks their leg and will be in chronic pain for the rest of their life if they are left to be alive, we should go ahead and put it down? Why is it that we see that if a dog is lying there and injured and suffering, that rather than let it suffer, we should go ahead and end its life so that it can be put to rest? Why is it that if we'll give that kind of courtesy to a dog, to a cat, to a bird, to a horse, to any other animal, why is it that we can't extend that exact same courtesy, that exact same humanity to a person who is terminal? And we know that even if they were to continue living, their quality of life would not be very good. Why can't we extend that? I urge everyone to push, to write your Congress, to write anyone that you know, and push the idea that we need to change some of the rules about euthanasia, because it's simply the right thing to do. For you religious people, I assure you, God would understand. If he didn't, then screw the bastard anyway.